So I've made a pair of my static mittens, and now I want to make a cord that I can kind of join them together and wear them around my neck or through my coat, because I'm probably likely to lose these. So I'm going to show you how I do it. I'm going to use an I-cord using two different colours. So I'm just going to use the leftover yarn, which is just like a DK weight, blue and white. And for this you need DPNs. I've only got 3.5mm DPNs, so I'm just going to use them. But 4mm, 4.5mm DPNs will work fine too. So yeah, I'll show you how to do it. So I'm going to take both colours and one DPN and insert the DPN underneath the two strands, and make sure that either side of the DPN the yarns are not twisted, so you want them straight. And with both strands of yarn I'm going to complete one long tail cast on stitch, and as you can see this actually creates 4 stitches on my needle with the two different colours, and they should alternate. So at the moment I've got blue, white, and then I'm ready to begin. So what I need to do first is slip my stitches to the side of the needle like this, and then take my other DPN and insert it through the first stitch. Now to complete this stitch I'm going to use the furthest away yarn, so that's the white, and I'm going to complete the stitch with this white, so just knit a stitch as you normally would. Then from now on we're going to alternate the yarns. So as you can see I've got a white stitch coming up next, so I'm going to use the blue yarn to knit it. And now I've got a blue stitch on my left needle, so I'm going to use the white yarn to knit it. So you're always going to be alternating your yarns. It's just having trouble with that one. I'll just complete that as a knit stitch, and then the final stitch is a white stitch, so I'm going to complete that with my blue yarn, and that's one row done. So now you've done it, you can pull down on the stitches and then move the stitches to the other side of the needle so you're ready to start again. And so I'm going to insert my needle into the first stitch, and as you can see I need to take my furthest away yarn, which is the blue, and knit with that. And so you're always alternating the colours, so every time there's a blue stitch you use the white, every time there's a white stitch you use the blue, and you're knitting every row. So I'm just coming up to the last stitch, which I'll complete with the white. Then that's another row done, so you can pull down on the stitches and move them to the other side of the needle, and then you begin working again using the white because you've got a blue stitch on your needle. Then you just continue this for every single row, working in the exact same way, and you should get this really cool 2-colour I-cord. So when you've reached the length you want for your cord, so I'm using about 150cm cord, I'm going to show you how to cast off now. So to cast off you work exactly how you were previously, so taking the furthest away yarn, which is the blue, and completing the first knit stitch. So once you've done that, you can now go on to the next stitch, which I'm going to work with the white yarn, always alternating, and then just complete a normal cast off by lifting the first stitch over the second, and just continue working in this way. So keep alternating the colours and then casting off stitch by stitch. So on to my last one, and then lifting it over the first stitch. So now you've got that, you can just cut your yarn, so leaving about a 15cm tail. I'm just going to cut that, and then you can pull on the needle with the stitch on until the yarn tail pulls through, and there you go. So now I'm going to sew the cord into my mittens, and some people find it a lot comfier to have the cord running on the inside along the line where the thumb is, so you can just make a few stitches and sew it there. However, I want to keep it kind of nice and neat, and I think it will hide a little bit better in the seam, so I'm going to go for that side. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to peel that back a little bit like that, where you can see the seam, and I've threaded my needle with both the yarn colours, so that's just the yarn tail which I've not sewn in, so I've just threaded it, and then I'm going to just go down a little bit, and I'm just going to put my needle through the seam like that, and then just secure it by doing a few over stitches into the cord and through the seam just to secure it. And then once it seems quite secure, you can just sew that end in down the seam. Just gonna pull that through a few times. Now I'm actually not gonna do it massively because I might want to change it at a later date. So for that reason, I'm just going to leave a little bit of a strand so I know where my tail is in case I want to swap the cord around or take it out for some reason. But you can see on the inside, if you do it a bit lower down, it makes quite a neat edge on this side. So I've sewn the other end of the I cord to my other mitten and finally finished. Yay!